Pope Benedict XVI says we should allow errors in us to be healed, to be restored, to be redeemed, to be purified in such a way that it can attain its authentic grandeur in the divine. The wonder of sexuality. It is believed that male-female friendship enhances self-knowledge, self-mastery, and therefore self-actualization and self-transcendence. Part of the way we learn who we are comes through interacting with people who are different from us. Renowned theologian Karl Barth suggests that our sexuality is the godlike in us. He believes that since we are created in God's image, and that image is revealed partially through our sexuality, it then follows that as we experience our sexuality, we learn more about God. Our sexuality is intricately woven into the core of who we are. It is an all-encompassing energy inside us. In one sense, our sexuality is identifiable with the principle of life itself. Our sexuality is the drive for love. It is the drive for communion, for community, for friendship, for family, for affection, for wholesomeness, for consummation, for creativity, for self-perpetuation, for immortality, for joy, for delight, for humor, and for self-transcendence. Sisters and brothers, having sex, therefore, is only one aspect of that larger reality of sexuality, albeit a very important one. Yet, ours is a culture overwhelmed not only by lust, but even by sexual consumerism. We consume everything. A culture of sexual consumerism where sex, like a cheap commodity, is on display at the checkout counter of the supermarket and the bookstore and the drugstore. And where sex and the advertisement of ever more innovative sex enhancement products for the insatiable consumers that we are dominate our junk emails and our websites. In such an environment, a wholesome appreciation of sexuality, such as the foregoing presentation, is admittedly a rarity. In this perverse environment, the issue of sexuality can often constitute a nightmare for even the most religious of people, even the most devout of people, who either avoid the matter of sexuality entirely, or they accord it only superficial treatment. But, you know, like an elephant in the corner of your living room, which will not go away simply by your wishing so, this enormous creative force in the human person, if ignored, it now and again becomes restless, leading to sudden feasts and outbursts that amount to scandals. True, those who ignore or suppress the sexual dimension of our human personality in the name of religion or spirituality are perhaps as dangerous as the abusers who dislocate sexuality from the human personality and turn sex into a cheap commodity. They are both attempting to separate the spirit from the body, thus defying God's integral creation. The point must therefore be constantly emphasized that to live wholesome and healthy lives, we must make peace with our bodies. Yet in truth, under our confused circumstances, in this culture obsessed and saturated with sex, and in the midst of a generation dominated by the consumer mentality, I ask you, is chaste friendship with a measure of love and affection really possible between men and women who are not married? Listen once again to the question. Under our confused circumstances, and in this culture obsessed and saturated with sex, and in the midst of a generation dominated by the consumer mentality, is chaste friendship with a measure of love and affection really possible between men and women who are not married? In other words, can non-sexual friendship truly exist between healthy men and women without their attempting to be asexual, non-sexual, or pretending to be genderless? Do you understand the questions? Turn to one another and discuss that. You must discuss this one. Oh yeah, turn to one another.